In this video, we will be discussing the incident known as the Sandline Affair. Who were Sandline International? Why were they contracted to reclaim Panguna copper mine? How did they almost bring Papua New Guinea to the brink of military revolt? Welcome to Tradecraft History. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Sandline International were a UK-based private military and security company established in the early 1990s. They were known for their involvement in Papua New Guinea, Sierra Leone and Liberia. Sandline International were created in a Goldilocks period of international security. The collapse of the Soviet Union and the downscaling of the US military saw a huge gap in the market for private military firms, as many developing nations now had to rely on their own defence. Sandline International was created by former British Army Colonel Tim Spicer, a retired Army officer and veteran of the Falklands War. Sandline offered military training and organisational support. This included military intelligence and public relations support. A major criticism of the private military sector is that contractors were operating solely for the accumulation of wealth. Sandline counters this argument in conversation with the BBC, stating that he reiterated that Sandline would not take contracts from groups or governments that would damage its reputation and personal standing. Sandline reiterate the common narrative that they are a professional outfit that hold themselves to an extremely high standard of regulation, comparable to Western armed forces. This is important because the private military sector sought to offer an alternative to what was seen as ineffective and expensive UN peacekeeping forces. Eben Barlow, founder of Executive Outcomes, stated that PMCs, which means private military contractors, are effective because they have the ability to pick sides. This is a common criticism of UN peacekeepers in that they are often deemed ineffective in conflict resolution. Panguna mine, once one of the richest mines in the world, lies derelict in Papua New Guinea's eastern island of Bougainville. The mine is a focal point for the separatist movement known as the Bougainville Revolutionary Front. Many citizens of Bougainville believe they do not receive their fair share from the mine and that the environmental costs outweigh the financial benefits. In 1989, due to community outrage at the environmental damage, locals forced the mines to cease operations. This caused the PNG government to retaliate by sending in troops. This sparked a 10-year-long conflict, which led to the resignation of a sitting prime minister and to the precipice of military revolt. After the PNG government failed to gain military support from Australia and New Zealand, they turned to Sandline International. In exchange for $36 million, Sandline would provide 44 Special Forces soldiers, several attack helicopters, fixed-wing aircraft, small arms, and lots of ammunition. The majority of these Special Forces were contracted by Executive Outcomes, a controversial South African private military contracting group. To learn more about them, please click here. The deal was not sanctioned by Parliament. Instead, it was struck through a secretive National Security Council. Once the deal had been leaked to the media, civil unrest soon began. Outraged by his lack of inclusion in the deal, Jerry Singarock, head of the PNG Defensive Forces, colluded with senior military officials to have Sandline International disarmed and arrested. Singarock also called for the resignation of Prime Minister Julius Chan. Chan refused and then sacked Singarock, replacing him with controversial Colonel Ikung. Civil unrest broke out after the sacking of Singarock. Soldiers and students protested. Eventually, a confrontation between the army and the police broke out. Reluctantly, Prime Minister Chan cancelled the Sandline deal, with all personnel except Tim Spicer leaving Papua New Guinea, as Spicer had to give witness to the newly created inquiry on the affair. The affair led Prime Minister Julius Chan to resign. After sensing it was a hopeless situation, he chose to step down. The conflict continued until 1997. 20,000 lives have been lost. Peace was formalised by the creation of the autonomous Bougainville district and province. The peace agreement also guaranteed a national referendum on Bougainville independence in 2019. 98% have voted in favour of independence, however this is yet to be ratified by Parliament.